This is Obi with Raw Organics welcoming you to another episode of Organic Vegetable Gardening, where we learn to be better gardeners. Today's episode is going to be about water. It's going to be about watering and water quality. And I want to start by discussing the water quality in my area of North Texas. I live in Sherman, Texas, and here where I live, the water out of the tap is pretty high pH, maybe between 8 and a 9, and high parts per million, 400 parts per million up. Sometimes of the year I've measured it come out of the meter at more than 800 parts per million. It's sort of incredible that the city water supply does it. Tools of the trade to tell your water quality is a Hanna instrument meter. I use Hanna instruments. There's lots of other quality. Hanna is relatively cheap for something that gives you good results. First thing we're going to do is check our parts per million. So I've calibrated my meter, and now I'll fill up a little bit of water here straight out of the tap. Turn it on to parts per million and give it a check. A little closer. Okay. It's settled a little bit. There's a little bit of fluctuation if you're used to dealing with these meters. About 473. Well, that's pretty high for tap water. What accounts for most of the total dissolved solids in the municipal water supply is some things like calcium. That's why you see a lot of white buildup on your pipes over a long time, especially in old homes. But another additive is chlorine. The municipalities added one form or another of chlorine to basically sanitize and kill microbes. And that's really important for our purpose as organic gardeners, since what we really want to do is to farm good quality microbes in our soil and on our plant surfaces. We need to pay attention to water, and we need to find a way to fix the issues that are caused by city water. One thing a lot of people don't realize is that you can't mix tap water with a lot of organic additives that are based off of bacteria and fungi, or the tap water will actually kill the bacteria and fungi. For example, if you buy a compost tea, you need to mix that compost tea with some kind of rainwater, or maybe with some kind of filtered water, reverse osmosis filtered water, or distilled water that has had all the chlorines and the chloramines, the different chlorine compounds, removed from the water. Those things are meant to kill microbes, and when they mix in with your bottle that you went and spent money on, they'll kill those microbes too. So it's really important that you either find a way to capture rainwater, take advantage of the rain whenever you can, or you investigate water filtration. Reverse osmosis filtration is affordable for the home, and it's more affordable for the garden. The second topic that I want to cover today on the issue of water is when's the appropriate time to water? How much should I water? I'll say that the biggest newbie mistake in gardening is overwatering plants. A lot of people think that what I do for my plants is watering my plants. The more I water them, the better they're going to be, and it couldn't be further from the truth. Usually your plant will tell you when it needs water, but more than that, your soil will always tell you when it needs water. My first rule of thumb is I like for my plants, all of my row crops pretty much, to get an inch of rain per week or an inch of watering per week every week. And that's for every single row. So when I'm irrigating, I try to put down what I know to be about an inch worth of rain, or an inch worth of water. That takes something like 25-35 minutes, depending on the water pressure that you've got and the kind of watering system that you've got. An important thing to remember is that any time that it rains, you should calculate that into your weekly watering. This week, for example, it rained here in my particular home, my rain gauge. We got a total of about 1 3/4 inches. I don't need to water for a good 7 days now. Realistically, I probably don't need to water for 10 days. How do I know whenever I need to water again next time, after I've got a rain? Well, the easiest way is to check your soil. I'm going to show you a quick trick. I think this is probably the only way to know whether your soil actually needs water. And the trick that I always use is I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to go down all the way to my knuckles, okay, because that's a few inches, 3-4 inches, and I'm going to grab a little bit of dirt by making a fist down inside there. You see that? Make a little fist. Now what I want to do with that dirt is I want to ball it up in my hand. And when I let go, if it stays together like this, that's plenty moist. I don't need to water. If it had fallen away, like sand, then it'd be time to water. This is Obi with Rod Organics. Join us again next week on another episode of Organic Vegetable Gardening, where we learn to be better gardeners.